Today we're going to do reflections in the coordinate plane. So we did translations, that was a shift. Today we're going to do reflections. And what you need to think about for a reflection is that it is a flip. Now this is like seeing yourself in the mirror. It is a flip. It's a reflection of your image, okay? So if we're going to reflect quadrilateral MDAW across the x-axis. Now you always have to flip over a line that they give you. And right now we're only going to use the x-axis or the y-axis to flip over, okay? The red figure is the image. Remember, the image is the new shape, okay? So if we take a look at MDAW, it has been flipped over the x-axis, okay? Don't let this arrow deceive you here. It's flipped down. It is not shifted. If we shifted this, we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units down. So that means that M should have gone 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but it didn't, okay? This shape, see how M comes up and across and down here is your point? That has been flipped over, okay? So the point is actually up here at the top and D is at the bottom. So up here, D is at the top and down here, D is at the bottom. So D prime, okay? So that's what you're looking as a flip. Your shape has actually been flipped over, okay? Now, notice what the mapping looks like. If we flip over the x-axis, x actually stays the same and y is the one that changes, which that makes sense. Instead of going up on the y-axis, we went down. So it's the same distance away, it just flips the sign. You go the negative direction, okay? So basically, you can just multiply each y value by -1 to make it flip vertically, okay, over the x-axis. Let's take a look at another. In this case, identify the transformation shown in the graph, then write a mapping rule. So if we look here, how our shape, this is the original, okay, and P prime would be the image, and U prime, okay? Notice they're directly across from each other, but the shape has been flipped, okay? So anytime you think that your shape has been flipped, that is a reflection, okay? Now, what do we reflect over? The y-axis. Notice if this is 1 unit away, it's still 1 unit on the other side. If U is 2 units away, U prime is 2 units away on the other side. If I have to write the rule, we need to think about what changed. The y value did not change. It's the x value that changed. Instead of going to the right, we went to the left. Okay? So that means that we do negative x and we keep y the same. The y values are all the same. Right? So since each point is flipped horizontally, this is a reflection across the y-axis, and that would be your mapping. Okay, so when you flip over the y, that means that your x value is changing. Okay, the x is changing when you flip over the y. If you flip over the x, that means that your y value is changing. Right? This last one. Reflect triangle K across the y-axis. So we need to think that this is the y-axis. So I'm going to be flipping over the y-axis. That means x will change. I'm going to go from negative x to positive x or positive x to negative x. Okay? But y does not move. So triangle or point K, which is 4, 7, should stay the same for y and flip x. Okay, so we would take and multiply by -1. Okay, all of the y's will stay the same, and the x's have to change. So we multiply this by -1, that by -1, and then 4. So all the x's get multiplied by -1, and the y values stay the same. Let's take a quick look at what that looks like if we graphed it. So I'm just going to sketch it here. Number 7 might be somewhere right there for point K. And -1, 2 might be right there. And then 3, -5 might be somewhere there. So just a little sketch of this triangle. Okay, now if I want to do the image, right? If I want to flip it, my new point should be at -4, 7. That should be K prime. That's looking pretty good. It should be at 1, 2 for A prime. And at -3, -5 for Y prime. All right, so this, I connect that, looks pretty good. Now, it crossed over itself, but that's okay. A flipped to the other side, and K flipped to the other side, and Y flipped to the other side. So our triangle, notice the point is now in the other direction because it flipped over the y-axis. So the y-axis should run down the center of your reflection, okay? Hey, let's remember that when we are doing reflections and translations, those are rigid transformations, which means that your original shape, so triangle KAY, is congruent to triangle K prime, A prime, and Y prime. All right, so that is a reflection, pretty basic. You just multiply by 1 on the x. If you want to flip it over y, multiply by 1 on the y. If you want to flip it over x.